If you're watching this on Facebook, please visit our YouTube channel and subscribe to better our show. Hi guys, you're watching K Cinema Express and I'm your host Uri A. Today, I present a Korean cult horror masterpiece, Suddenly in the Dark, or 깊은 밤 갑자기 in Korean. Depending on where you look, its English title can be Suddenly at Midnight, Suddenly in Dark Night, or Suddenly in the Dark, so be prepared for a little bit of confusion. For this preview, I'll stick with its Blu-ray release title, Suddenly in the Dark. Sunny is a young housewife living in a country manor with her husband, Eugene, a biology professor devoted to a field study on butterflies. Sunny's growing feelings of isolation and neglect intensify when Eugene brings home Miok, an overripe 19-year-old he found wandering around in a state of shock after the mysterious death of her mother, a shaman priestess who inexplicably burned to death while performing a ritual. At first, Sunny warmly welcomes Miok's arrival, but soon begins to have misgivings when she sees a mysterious wooden doll Miok carries around with. Having suffered from nightmares about the doll, Sunny becomes increasingly suspicious that Miok is trying to kill her and take over her household. Director Go Young-nam, who passed away in 2003 at the age of 68, was one of the most prolific filmmakers in 1970s and 80s. In those days, a movie production company had to make at least 15 feature films each year to maintain its license. This requirement led to a ridiculous number of movies getting produced, and directors who could shoot a decent movie very quickly were in high demand. Go was one such director, and he churned out a large number of movies like a factory, a total of 108 titles in 35 years to be exact. At the peak of his career, he directed 10 movies in 1 year. Go was primarily a director of action films and melodramas, and Suddenly in the Dark was his only horror title. Suddenly in the Dark is a story of domestic triangle, exploring tensions arising from the retrograde practice of housemaids amid rapid modernization. At the same time, the movie can be said to depict class struggle on top of a clash between superstitions and modernity. And there's director Ko's outrageous visual style that is one of a kind, using tons of distorted visuals and gaudy gale lighting washes to portray Sunny's descent into paranoia and madness. For its ambiguous fantasy alone, I'd like to compare Suddenly in the Dark to Roman Polanski's masterpieces such as Repulsion and The Tenant. When it was first released, Suddenly in the Dark was deemed as a ripoff of The Housemaid by the great Korean cineast Kim Ki-young because of its premise of a family destructed by a young housemaid. It was neither critical nor commercial success. But when it hit network television, Suddenly in the Dark generated a lot of buzz, deeply imprinted in the collective memory of younger audiences. This generation of movie geeks since has turned into a fan base that praises the movie. Reasons to watch Suddenly in the Dark? Just one word. Scary! It's freaking uncanny, spooky, and downright creepy. Korean genre movie fans unanimously choose this movie as one of the most horrifying movies in the history of Korean cinema. If you have enjoyed contemporary K-horrors, go watch this movie and see for yourself why it's called a cult horror masterpiece in Korea. Over the years, horror fans outside Korea noticed the powerful energy lurking inside of Suddenly in the Dark, and surprisingly, a genre movie specialist label, Mondo Macabro, released its Blu-ray title in early 2017. It was nearly a year later, in December 2017, fans were finally able to get a copy of Blu-ray here in Korea. Thanks for watching my show. If it was helpful, please click that like button and do subscribe our YouTube channel for future episodes. And leave a comment to share your views on the movie or feedbacks on the show. See you next time!